Are you looking for the best Android tablets? In this video, we will look at some of the 5 best tablets on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Samsung Galaxy Tab S8. The Samsung Galaxy Tab S8, Galaxy Tab S8 Plus, and Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra are the best Android tablets you can buy right now based on my reviews. Their main differentiator is their screen size. With 11 inches, the Galaxy Tab S8 is the smallest and has a standard LCD. It's followed by the 12.4-inch Galaxy Tab S8 Plus with a Super AMOLED screen, and the 14.6-inch Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra has the same display technology. Sure, their screens are a little bit different, but overall they all look fantastic. They support 120Hz each so that animations look very smooth. Due to high resolutions, they're very sharp and also quite bright with 500 nits. The Super AMOLED devices are the only ones that support HDR content in Netflix and other services. I always love that Samsung is including the S Pen stylus so that you don't have to buy it extra. The pen supports over 4,000 levels of pressure sensitivity and is charged inductively by the tablets. You need the battery for a few features only, for instance, to use them as a remote in Microsoft PowerPoint. You can write with an empty battery just fine. Pre-installed are the fantastic Samsung Notes app and the Air commands for the S Pen. There are tons of features for the pen and most of them work great. Thanks to their 120Hz screens, it looks like the writing looks super smooth. Overall, the writing and drawing experience is fantastic. Inside all of them sits a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor that has access to 8GB up to 16GB of RAM. You can get them with up to 512GB of storage and optional 5G. Thanks to these specs, all of them are much faster than the other tablets on this list and are capable of playing demanding games like Fortnite and PUBG Mobile with the highest graphics settings. The operating system is Android 12, and as is common for Samsung, the interface is customized quite heavily. While there are some useless features, most are quite useful, and that certainly goes for the Samsung DeX desktop mode. With that one, you can use the tablets like a desktop PC. That's very cool in case you want to get some work done, and especially when using a keyboard cover. Samsung is selling 2 different kinds for all of them. I think Samsung did a fantastic job here. Thanks to their metal bodies, they feel very high-end. We get 4 great speakers and a fingerprint scanner. With the AMOLED versions, that reader sits below the screen. Which one should you get? I would decide based on the screen size alone. Is an 11-inch, 12.4-inch, or 14.6-inch display better suited for you? At number 2. Xiaomi Pad 5. Even though the Xiaomi Pad 5 is a bit weaker in most points than the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8, it gets very close anyways. Here the biggest highlight is its price because, despite its flagship aspirations, it often costs just half of the S8. That's probably one reason why it'll get much shorter updates, is not as powerful, a fingerprint scanner is missing, and the pen costs extra. At first sight, the Xiaomi Pad 5 resembles the S8 from Samsung a lot. But instead of a full metal body, we get a metal frame only, and the back is plastic. It has 4 good speakers, a USB-C port, as well as a magnetic area for the pen. In my review, I couldn't tell a difference between the displays of the Xiaomi Pad 5, Galaxy Tab S7, and S8. They could be the same 11-inch LCDs. No matter if that's true, all of them have a very high resolution with 2560 by 1600 pixels and support 120Hz so that animations look smooth. The Xiaomi Smart Pen has to be bought separately, is made of plastic, and has 2 buttons on its side. I love that you can use the same pen with the Xiaomi Book S12.4 Windows tablet. While the pen is good, it's not as fantastic as the S Pen. On the software side, it's also lacking many features compared with Samsung, but you can install apps from the Google Play Store, of course. Due to its Qualcomm Snapdragon 860 SoC, it's not as powerful as the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 or Lenovo Tab P12 Pro, but it kind of gets close. There's also a Pro version with a Snapdragon 870. You can choose between 6GB and 8GB of RAM and get up to 256GB of internal storage. The Pro is the only one with optional 5G. Even though that chipset doesn't belong to the highest flagship class, you can play almost every game with the highest settings. Just like with the S8, Fortnite is among them, but here it runs better when dropping the 3D resolution a bit. All other apps and games run fantastically. Out of the box, it's running Android 11, and in some regions, Xiaomi started to release updates to Android 12. I'm guessing that this will be one of its biggest weaknesses because I'm pretty sure it won't be updated as long as the S8 will be. By the way, if you want to get a lot of real work done, you can buy an official keyboard cover. It's a decent one, but not as good as the Samsung Book Cover keyboard or the Apple Magic Keyboard. At number 3. Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 FE. I think the Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 FE is the best mid-range tablet on the market today. It's a much weaker version of the Galaxy Tab S8 Plus and has the same size as its 12.4-inch display. While most premium features like a fingerprint scanner or especially good speakers are missing, it usually costs about half. So, you can save a lot of money but are still getting a large tablet. Instead of an AMOLED panel, the Galaxy Tab S7 FE has a standard 12.4-inch LCD screen and supports standard 60Hz instead of the 120Hz of the S8 Plus. The resolution continues to be as high at 2560 by 1600 pixels, it's very bright and looks great overall. You can use almost the same S Pen and that stylus is included. The software features are almost the same too. Even though it's a lot cheaper, we still get a metal body and in fact, the dimensions are the same. That means that you can use the same keyboard covers and other accessories that also work with the S8 Plus. Very good. Inside, the Wi-Fi version runs a Qualcomm Snapdragon 778G processor and the 5G version features a Snapdragon 750G chipset. Both are mid-range SoCs, with the Wi-Fi version being a bit faster. You can get 4GB of 6GB of RAM and 64GB or 128GB of internal storage. Especially in benchmarks, it's quite a bit slower than flagship tablets. But for standard tasks and normal apps, the performance is great. Most games run just fine as well, but with more demanding ones, you often have to reduce the graphics settings to about medium. PUBG Mobile does not work with Ultra HD graphics, for instance, but runs great with HD settings. Android 11 is pre-installed, and just like with their pricier tablets, Samsung is pretty good with updates here as well. The software is almost the same as on the S8 Plus, not just regarding the S Pen. Here too we get the Samsung DeX desktop mode and the fantastic Samsung Notes app. At number 4. Samsung Galaxy Tab A8. The Samsung Galaxy Tab A8 is a good entry-level tablet if you want to save some money and can live without all the premium features. A fingerprint scanner and the S Pen are missing, there's no Samsung DeX, and overall it's a bit weaker than the S6 Lite. For many, and especially if you don't have high expectations, it's fine. Even though the Galaxy Tab A8 has a metal body too, it does not feel as high-end as the Galaxy Tab S6 Lite. Its 4 speakers make you think it should have a fantastic sound, but in reality, it's weaker than the S6 Lite with its 2 speakers. But we do get a USB-C port as well. The 10.5-inch LCD screen has a resolution of 1920 by 1200 pixels, and as usual, I think that's sharp enough. Overall, it's a usable screen, but especially compared to higher-end pricier tablets, it looks much worse. As I said, there's no S Pen, and that kind of stylus is not supported. With its Unisoc Tiger T618 processor, the performance is good enough. You can get versions with 3GB and 4GB of RAM or 32GB or 128GB of internal storage. LTE is an option too. If possible, I would get the 128GB version because apps cannot be easily written to a microSD card here. But it does have a microSD card slot. The performance is fine for most apps, but when doing intensive multitasking, you will see some stutters. It's also to be expected that you cannot play games like PUBG Mobile with the highest graphics. But HD graphic is possible. I like the software on Samsung devices. Even though Samsung DeX is missing and the S Pen is not supported, we do get the fantastic Samsung Notes app. Pre-installed is Android 11, and I'm pretty sure that it'll get a couple of updates. At number 5. Amazon Fire HD 10 and HD 10 Plus. The Amazon Fire HD 10 and Fire HD 10 Plus are the cheapest 10-inch Android tablets that I can recommend. While we get plastic bodies here that feels very cheap, the hardware is surprisingly good for its price. But remember that with Amazon devices, you've got to install the Google Play Store yourself. Out of the box, you can use the Amazon App Store alone. Between the Fire HD 10 and Fire HD 10 Plus, the differences are minor. The Fire HD 10 Plus has 4 GB of RAM instead of 3 GB and supports wireless charging. You can get it with a wireless charging dock. According to Amazon, both tablets are twice as robust as the Apple iPad 8. They just look cheap but seem to be well built. With 9.2mm, they're quite thick, but we get a microSD card slot and a USB-C 2.0 port. Both Fire HD 10 versions have the same 10.1-inch Full HD screen with a resolution of 1920 by 1200 pixels. They resemble the screen of the Galaxy Tab A8. As with that one, no active pen is supported. But they're fine to watch Netflix and Prime Video, and the speakers are decent too. Considering its price, the graphics performance of the MediaTek MT8183 chipset is pretty good, so you can play PUBG Mobile with HD graphics. Most games run, but often not with high settings. Fortnite is not supported. Sadly, there's no LTE option, but you can choose between 3 GB and 4 GB of RAM and 32 GB or 64 GB of storage. The Fire HD 10 is an Android tablet, but it's not running Google Android. Instead, it's running Amazon's Android. That has one big advantage, because Amazon is releasing updates for quite a long time. A big disadvantage is, however, that the Google Play Store is missing. You can install it yourself, and there are tons of tutorials for that. But if you're not into technology, you probably don't want to deal with that. On a positive note, Amazon's services are deeply integrated, and that also goes for the Alexa voice assistant. You can use the tablet like you can an Echo Smart Display. A big highlight of the Fire HD 10 is its battery life of 9 hours when looping an HD YouTube video at maximum brightness.